Tiebreak is the upcoming tennis video game, which is not yet released but is already available to play through early access. The game seems to have plenty of areas for improvement, and with time will surely add features, game modes and polish to the game. But despite being just an early access title with some important elements still missing, Tiebreak is already my favorite tennis video game to play. What matters the most to me is how the game actually feels like when I am playing the match. And Tiebreak feels great. Each point feels a bit different. I feel like I am participating in an actual tennis match. This is huge contrast to Topspin 2K25, where every single match feels exactly the same, especially in the multiplayer. All shot types in Tiebreak have different uses, advantages and risks. Using analogy to football video games, Tiebreak feels like early Pro Evolution Soccer games where the gameplay had that great balance between being a fun video game while still feeling like an authentic football experience. So, I believe Tiebreak is already worth giving the game a shot and getting it in early access. In this video, I will explain to you why I think that's the case. I will also highlight limitations of the current early access version and discuss the issues with the game so you can make informed decision whether you should get Tiebreak now, wait until full release, or perhaps skip the title completely. So, let's get into it. Gameplay is what's the most important in sports video games, and Tiebreak already shines in how the game feels on the court. Tiebreak strikes a really nice balance between arcadish video game fun and realistic, authentic gameplay experience of tennis match. The game rewards strategy and strong angle play, instead of focusing on maximum power in every single stroke. In Tiebreak, you cannot just hold the shot button as soon as possible. You have to be way more strategical about powering your shots. Holding the button for too long will overpower your shot. This means that the stroke will be very strong, but also it is very likely to miss the mark. So you want to overpower your shots only in specific situations. In most scenarios, you're better off hitting the perfect blue power mark. But the strongest shot is not always the best option in this game. Sometimes hitting the ball with lower power gives you a possibility for a tighter angle. I find this risk-reward balance to be really well done in Tiebreak, as it results in variety of shots from both you and your opponents. Furthermore, the success of your shot depends on how high the ball was when you hit it and which shot type you chose. Flat shot should not be your default go-to option, as it's a risky shot type, especially when you are out of position, hit the ball at low height, or when the enemy used slice. In fact, responding to well-hit slice with a flat shot results in hitting the net most of the time. So in Tiebreak, slices are actually a useful tool in your arsenal. The ball speed in general is slower than in other tennis titles. I think it's actually quite deliberate decision from developers, since the timing of powering your strokes and positioning your player correctly are very important aspects of the game. If Tiebreak had this arcadish high-speed style like Topspin has, the gameplay would not work well. But I feel that the ball floats a little bit too much for my liking. When enemy hits the ball in defensive way, with the higher trajectory of the ball, I tend to expect the ball to arrive a bit faster than it does, and as a result I overpower my shots a tad too often. I saw similar feedback in Steam reviews from other players, so I hope that developers will improve that ball physics balance in the future. In Tiebreak there is also modifiers for left and right trigger. Generally, holding the left trigger is useful for sprinting towards left and opening the angle to the left side. The right trigger is useful for the same actions, just to the right side, of course. You can also hold both triggers simultaneously to make your shots more aggressive and to scramble towards the ball when you are out of position or the ball is fast and you have to sprint towards it. Holding both triggers is actually a very useful tool at your disposal, and you will use it frequently to add aggression to your plays. And then we have drop shots that are quite powerful when done right, but are really hard to time and aim well. As you can see, there is a lot of complexity to Tiebreak gameplay. This complexity gives us the feeling that every match and every point goes a bit differently. So far, in my first 10 hours with the game, I've been having a blast on the court. But there are also some issues with the gameplay, and the biggest one is serving. See, the serve goes in way too much. Every single match I play finishes with the first serve stat being 100% or almost 100% for both players. And that's really unrealistic. At the same time, it's very hard to make an ace or to gain a significant advantage with your serve. Well, besides the sliced serve to the side, which is almost guaranteed ace if aimed properly. And so neither are serves rewarding nor punishing, since it's easy to get them in, but they provide no substantial advantage. In fact, I like returning serve way more than serving, as I can just make powerful topspin shot to the other side of the court and create an opening. Now, moving on to usually problematic topic with tennis games, the graphics. The visual standards in tennis genre of sports games is very low. Recently, Topspin 2K25 came out and is probably the most advanced visual video game for tennis titles released so far. Yet, Topspin looks really freaking bad. I mean, Topspin 2K25 has less detailed and polished character models than NBA 2K had 8 years ago with 2K16 release. Other titles like AO Tennis or Tennis World Tour also give you that AA budget feeling with the lack of decent effects, low quality of textures and overly poor fidelity of graphics. These last two titles were, by the way, released by the same studio responsible for Tiebreak. Luckily, Big Ant Studios took a major leap in graphics department. Tiebreak actually looks like a modern title. Just look at the character models in this video. They all had well done face scans of real licensed players. In-game players look like their real-life counterparts. Textures are quite sharp, anti-aliasing and shadows are also solid. The hair of female players moves nicely, and clothes look good too. The courts look detailed and realistic as well. I also like how players leave feet marks on clay courts. It's a nice detail. One thing that I wish for developers to improve over time is the variety with the crowd. Every few seats you can see very same-ish model. Though I have to say that the crowds don't bother me generally in these types of games, since you don't spend much time looking at them anyway. Besides the models and the technicalities of the graphics, the animations are for the most part fluid, detailed and looking quite natural. Most in-game moves are well done and flow smoothly. Powerful shots have that oomph feeling to them. Volleys and serves are swift and satisfying to do. Lunges don't seem out of place like your player is teleporting to the ball, which was an issue with the previous titles from these developers. But animations are not perfect. There are some awkward shots, especially when your opponent plays drop shot and you run towards the net. In such situations, your character has often weird, clunky animations. And speaking about animations, let's move on to the uniqueness of players. There are already quite some licensed players, so you may wonder, do they move in the game like they do in the real life? See, Tiebreak has already tons of animations to choose from for different sort of movements. You can select ground strokes animations, serves or serve return position. You can also even choose audio for grunting and how often it happens. Unfortunately, the animations for ground strokes do not split into forehands and backhands. In Tiebreak, they come as one package. You can choose animations based on variety of real players, even some of them that are not currently in the game, like Djokovic or Federer. Alright, so they look, sound and move like real players, but do they feel authentic too? Do they play like real players, each with distinct playstyle and abilities? Unfortunately, so far I don't feel such a big difference in player statistics. There are no special abilities, perks or badges that would make players unique. The only tendency-related stat available in the game is net aggression, and that's all. Also, the statistics don't feel very impactful when it comes to differences between top players. I will have to do some tests to see how much impact the statistics actually have on the court. But so far I have to say that I don't feel much difference between playing top licensed player and some randomly generated lower ranked opponent. The next thing you may wonder is how ready the game feels at this current stage of early access. At the time of recording this video, Tiebreak is at early access update number 5. Developers seem to be adding steadily new players to the game. I've seen announcement of the big three, Djokovic, Nadal and Federer, but sadly they are not available in the game at the moment. Currently, we have 42 real tennis stars, including both genders. Developers hint 120 plus licensed players, so we should expect many more to come. In recent patch, Tiebreak received an addition of a career mode for star players. This means that you can play one full season with your favorite player. Unfortunately, at the moment, you cannot use players created by you in the career mode. You can only use them in exhibition matches, which is a bummer since playing with avatar created by you will be surely a very popular feature for single player. For the time being, the career mode seems a little bit bare-bone. During that season you can plan your participation in tournaments, but you will also have to consider your players' fatigue and give them some rest. With winning comes money and experience. Experience is currently useless since your pro players are max level anyway. Money can be spent on some upgrades it seems, but I will have to see how impactful these upgrades actually are. All in all, career mode definitely needs some upgrades, so let's keep an eye to see how deep this mode will become with each upcoming patch. In terms of competitions, we are missing Grand Slams. I hope they will add them later on. We also do not have any grass type courts available in the game. Besides the career mode, in single player you can play exhibition matches with singles, since doubles seem unavailable at the moment, and tournaments. We also have online quick matches available and online tournaments. I cannot really comment on the quality and fun of the multiplayer for a very simple reason. I have not managed to find an opponent to play with. The game seems not very popular at the moment, at least on Steam, with peak players being only 42. Is lack of online players and robust career a problem? For me, in my 10 hours with the game, it's not a big deal. The gameplay is so damn good that I just enjoy messing around in exhibition matches testing different players. But for more competitive players, lack of online competition might be a deal breaker, at least for now. In terms of technical state of the game, I've had some crashes. The game's FPS performance, however, is really good. On my rig of Ryzen 5800X and Nvidia 3070, I am playing with solid 100 plus FPS on max settings with 1440p resolution. Most of the time the game seems to run with stable 144 FPS, as I set that as maximum. But there are some technical issues. In my 10 hours I've had few crashes to desktop while being in the game's menu and one time during the match. And when the match finishes, the loading screen seems to be stuck for a minute or two before you can progress. Plus the menus have sections where text overlaps, making it impossible to read some text. The menu part is not a big of a deal, but that freeze at the end of the match can be really annoying. And now I would like to mention few things that I would like this game to improve. First, the animations for currently awkward shots while running towards the net. Second, technical polish would be much appreciated, especially the long idle time after the game. I would also love the statistics of players to be explained with some in-game helper. While some stats are quite obvious, take power as an example, others are not really clear at all. Like, I don't know what GameSense statistic actually impacts at all. The next thing I would love to see improved is the ball physics, especially for high trajectory defensive shots and slices. The split to left trigger, right trigger and holding both buttons for scrambling to the ball and aggressive shots is very tiring when playing longer and sometimes also confusing. I had many moments when I held one of the triggers to make better angle of my shot and the character took really awkward position due to how the triggers operate. The enemy's AI could also use improvements. They have very obvious tendencies in some situations. For instance, when you play slice while staying at the baseline, it's like 40-50% chance that your computer-controlled opponent will play a drop shot. And they fail them most of the time, even on hard difficulty. So it's kinda easy way to bait them into making a mistake. Other situation like that is during computer serve. Take back like 3 steps and they almost always play underarm serve. And lastly, the serving itself, like I mentioned earlier. I would like it to be more impactful with higher risk-reward play, but I understand that it's a very difficult area to balance. Like you can see in Topspin 2K25 where it's overtuned to serve to the side to gain advantage. So I hope they can work it out in the future without going too much into the opposite side. So that was my review of Tiebreak in early access stage of the game. What do you think about this title? Are you planning to buy it, or perhaps you will wait to see how the game develops with time? Personally, I find the game to be really great at the core, which is very important and very promising. If the issues with the game I mentioned do not bother you too much and you wanna have an authentic tennis experience with the video game, then I highly recommend you give this game a shot. But if you are more skeptical about the title, then perhaps wait till a later stage of early access or perhaps till full release. If you enjoyed this content, then I would appreciate if you drop a like. And if you want to see more videos from me in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. I am planning to make beginner's guide for new players that will come to the game, since some things are not so obvious. So stay tuned for that video. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.